Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Overwatch All-Stars Brawl 3, a double elimination tournament dedicated to the Tier 3 community of Overwatch. Today, we will have Old Man Strength versus Dismissed. I will be your play-by-play caster, Poor Zach, and with me is Colorcaster Shy Guy.
How's everybody doing tonight? It's going to be an incredible couple of games that we've got going on in this first one. I think is ready to really get the night started off on a really good note here. We've got two fantastic teams who, frankly, I'm kind of surprised to be seeing in the lower bracket right now. One of them is going home tonight, and I cannot wait to get into the action.
Yeah, no, we're going to be starting off on Legion Tower, and this is, like you said, in the lower bracket, match number 11, so we are going to be seeing, unfortunately, one of these teams go home today, and I think right now it's going to be just completely dependent on maps, because for certain teams, maybe they have a lot more satisfaction of getting the choice of picking those maps, and we've seen both of these teams in previous matches kind of have back and forth, so I'd really like to see how they choose the different maps within our pool.
And I think that this series is going to be especially interesting and potentially extra close here tonight. Because if we look back at some of the results throughout this event, these two teams have shared some common opponents throughout their runs to this point. They both took down Citizens 3-1. They both were sent down into the lower bracket by the Dedicated Gaming. That was a 3-0 over Dismissed, a 3-1 over Old Man Strength. So there's some common ground between them, and that tells me that these two teams are very evenly matched. It tells me that we are in for a really great series.
Yeah, and what a way to start it off other than on a King of the Hill map, you know what I mean? Because these are just such the most standard vanilla version of Overwatch you can really get, where you can really see teams overall how they shine. Maybe a team is better on defense than offense or vice versa, but when it comes to King of the Hill maps, it's usually very 50-50 when fights really start out, and then you get to see how teams kind of progress themselves through there and really start to snowball.
Absolutely, and speaking of balls, since we are starting on that control map, and I see Yeatle in the lineup for Old Man Strength, I think that means we're going to be seeing some Wrecking Ball here tonight. It's something that they are perfectly capable of, especially on these control maps, where the Wrecking Ball's mobility, the ability to set up the fights on the point is really fantastic, and they're going to put that hero to its best use here tonight. But can Dismiss find an answer to Yeatle and his incredible hand play?
Yeah, and I mean, when you really think about it, Hammond is especially good at one of these maps, in particular Garden, because Garden just kind of leads itself to have more of a divey composition played on that map, and Yeatle on a Hammond could be a real issue, like you said, so maybe they decide to run something like a Sombra, or maybe just have someone dedicated to focusing him out for when he tries to come in, like the Doomfist, or maybe they try to run Brig with a Shield Bash, or just try to save Rock Form, just something to kind of stop a Hammond in their tracks when they're trying to get in.
Yeah, those stuns and the hack, especially like you mentioned, is kind of the one way to pin down the Wrecking Ball a little bit here. But that can still be a tough proposition, because if you're paying a lot of attention to the Wrecking Ball, that's what Old Man Strength kind of want. They want him to be a distraction. They want him to open up space for the rest of the team. And you know, if they can accomplish that, then I think they'll be pretty happy with how that matchup plays out.
Yeah, and I mean, that is, like you said, kind of what the Hammond is mainly for, is distraction. I mean, if you have a Hammond that goes into your team's backline, and let's say three of you focus him in the backline, well, that Hammond's got so much survivability if he pops those shields, and he's got the mobility to get him out of there really quick. Meanwhile, while you were fighting that 3v1 trying to get that Hammond before they eventually got out, the rest of your team was fighting a 5v3, which chances are they probably lost.
Yes, exactly. So a lot of times teams prefer to just kind of take the frontline fight, ignore the Wrecking Ball entirely. I mean, that comes with its own set of problems, but potentially, but we'll just have to see what Dismissed approach is going to be. And they are a team that is kind of looking to bounce back. To me, they were one of the pre-tournament favorites coming into this All-Star Brawl. You know, they have had historically a lot of success in these tournaments. They've been one of the better teams that we've had, and with a few of the bigger names kind of dropping out, we lost Class 6 who beat Dismissed in the last grand final. To me, Dismissed was primed for being able to go on a run here. Now they find themselves in the losers bracket, and they're trying to fight their way back. And tonight would be one further step.
Yeah, and I mean, it'd be really great for them, and I mean, to be honest with you, it isn't out of reach. They can still plow their way through, and because it is a double elimination bracket, then you're still going to be able to make your way to the finals even if you do drop below. So your hopes are never really gone. And right now it looks like we're going to be starting on night market here on Lijiang Tower.
Indeed, we will be, and that makes me think that perhaps Afara could be in play. I don't know whether either of these teams really have that not in their hero pools, because I'm sure they're capable of playing nearly everything, but just is that the direction that they're going right now? It hasn't been exactly the most meta pick of recent times, but here on Night Market, it can really find a lot of value, and indeed, for the time being, Dimes is teasing it right now.
Yeah, and I mean, if they do decide to run the Pharah here, you still gotta have to be worried about a Widowmaker switch on the enemy team or McCree. Both very good at taking out those Pharah Mercies, or right now, even potentially like a Pharah on her own could be really difficult if the Mercy goes for a res or something like that, because as soon as you lose that Pharah, you just feel like you have so much more space, and it's down to a 5v6, so it can really turn the tides.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, never mind. The Pharah not going to be entirely on our own here. Carfixer just giving the team the speed boost out of the gate, and now laying into the rockets is Dimes.
Yeah, and you can see Yeatle now going into the back line, trying to get a pick, and he's actually able to open it up for Dimes to get the pick over on the Noctis on the Lucio. Losing that Lucio is not going to be good here. That speed boost is going to be something you really want. Afro now taken out in the back line. Yeatle just going right on in. They know they have the fight one. They're just taking them out one by one. Cry, though, able to take one out before eventually he'll have to leave the point here. And that's going to be the first cap going in the side of Old Man Strength.
And the crowd control there from the side of Old Man Strength is able to separate Noctis from the rest of the team. They get that opening pick, and then Dimes goes on the flank, comes up big on the Pharah, already up to 72% on that first rocket barrage, and that's going to be massive. It's forcing some swaps here for the side of Dismissed.
Yeah, now you really got to think, what do you want to use that shield on for Sigma? Do you want to try to use it purely on the Pharah or save it for the Orisa shield going down? But right now, speaking of Orisa's, Mac is down now. And same thing with Madero. Now you're losing your main tank and your main support. Not spelling good news for Old Man Strength. And it looks like they're just going to make their way over here and cap the point or Dismissed. But they're about to be coming in again, ready to go at it. And it looks like they have the barrage coming in from the side. The hack is out from Afro onto Dimes, but Dimes still gets the pick onto Afro. He's getting in close. He wants to use that barrage, but they're ready for it. He has to back up now. But meanwhile, when they're not paying attention, the Hammond's able to walk his way in. The Coalescence comes out for Potion, but Potion taken down as soon as he uses it by Yeatle. Right now, it's just a very scrappy fight, just trying to get some more picks right now. And the barrage decides to come through. Gets JD, Fate of dropping low, taken out by Hazard, and Cry now taken out by the barrage too. Maduro also down, and that's going to spell the end of the fight there for Dismissed. Back to spawn.
They do give up 27% as the point flips over briefly, but they'll be ultimately pretty happy with that. They get to retain a lot of ultimates going in the next fight. Dimes the only one who had to unleash his there, so now an opportunity for Old Man Strength to continue this defense and do it with resources.
Yeah, they don't really have much to do for Dismissed here. Just going to go in with a dry push, I imagine. Just pressuring the point. The Coalescence now that comes out from Madero. They're able to get 1, 2, 3 ults out right now. Yeatle used his ultimate, Madero and Hazard. So right now, Dismisses are still going on to the point, capping it very close, but they're able to make their way back. The beat, though, comes out. Now everyone on Dismiss got that extra shields, but the Bongo as well now joining that to try to take them out as fast as possible. Faded the first one down. Max Bongo actually gets taken out and Cries in the backline, just taking out that Orisa, but right now the picks are 1 for 1, now going more in the favor of Dismiss, but that res is going to change that completely up right now, and now 2 picks over on the side of Old Man Strength, make it really difficult here. The barrage comes through, Noctis takes him down, but not before he gets Potion. Now Hazard kills over to JD, Yeatle able to hit someone off to the point there, Mac finishing up the kill, and that's going to be the point all the way back over to Old Man Strength.
That was a lot of ultimates used by Old Man Strength during that fight to not a lot of success initially, but thanks to that clutch res coming in from Carfixer, they're able to hold out there on the point, and now they're going into last fight territory. They need to win just 1 to take Night Market.
Yeah, right now using the Flux, they're able to pick up Yeatle, it looks like, but he's going to put those shields on. No one's going to be able to get to him until after he hits the ground. Hazard and Yeatle both now taken out. Both hit by that Sigma. Dismissed over on the point now, capping it slowly but surely. Mac and Dimes now follow suit in the death toll. And right now it's just the supports just trying to stall it out as long as they can. They get it up to 99 though, so very good number to end it off at least.
Yes, but crucially there, Dismissed does not have to commit Afro's EMP to that fight. they're going to be able to come into this next engagement and open up with the MP and hopefully use nothing else. If they can use that to win a fight, build up some more ultimates for the final engagement, then they have a real shot of winning this map.
Yeah, right now Yito's just kind of running through around, trying to take out that Orisa faded. Dimes up at the top, just slowly trying to poke their way into this objective, making them fall all the way back over to the point right now. Just looking for their ultimates to start coming out here. Like you said, Afro with that EMP, probably going to be what we're going to be seeing closely here. The Hammond comes in. I can expect the thing to come out now. Yes, there goes the EMP, the Bongo, and the Coalescence taking out Hazard. Now Mac following. Yeetle able to take out Afro, though, so pick still about 5v4 right now. They do have to back up. They're going to just wait for everyone to get back. Maybe use Lucio speed boost a few more people in. Just trying to make sure that this next team fight's going to be as even as possible.
Yeah, that's a smart call there from the side of Old Man Strength. They know they have time for a last-second engagement, and now they've got the advantage.
Yeah, losing that Lucio right now is not what you want to see here on the side of Dismissed. They're coming in. The Raj is also going to come out. It's able to get faded. Still not taking out the Sky. Also able to get JD. Dimes right now. That's a 3K. Yeetle able to pick up Cry on that Tracer. Now it looks like we've gone to 99.99. That overtime wick starting to burn down, and Noctis just trying to get over there as fast as possible. Afro on the Sombra is going to be able to touch for a second, but Noctis just slammed into the wall by Hazard there. I don't think anyone's going to be able to touch.
Afro barely not able to make it back at the end of the fight there, but it's just a really awkward situation there for the side of Dismissed as they're holding that point towards the tail end of this map. If they had to commit a lot of ultimates to the previous fight, the Supercharger and the EMP both coming out, and they win the fight. They force Old Man Strength back out of the point, but there's just enough time on the clock for them to re-engage. Dimes builds up to that rocket barrage, and it's all over. A very close first sub map here on Lijiang goes over to Old Man.
Yeah, very close, 99 and 99, and it looks like our next map is going to be on Control Center. So we're probably going to see them drop the Hammonds and add a Mei to their roster, Reaper, and just play that standard double shield, I'm imagining. And from there on out, I'm sure that this map is also probably going to be very close at 99-99. JD and Yeetle both very good on those Sigmas, so they're going to really have to be careful. But I think what we're mostly going to be wanting to look at here is the Meis. The Mei walls can just be so crucial, whether it's giving you the ability to disengage from a fight or to split the other team in half and then engage into the fight. I think that's really going to be what you want to see from your Meis, are those good walls to help the specific scenario that you might be in.
And the Mei has always been such a powerful pick here on Control Center, and that's why I think we're going to be seeing it from both sides here. It looks like mirror comps on the way. The Mei Reaper going to be the call as soon the Symmetra's just on the field for that initial teleport, get everybody to the point a little bit faster, but we're just going to be going head to head and see who can execute better.
Yeah, I always really like the idea of just throwing the Sim out since she has that fast TP and then switching over to the Reaper, because it saves your speed boost to engage in a fight, which can be really crucial. And using that Mei wall here, kind of taking space. They have to back off a little bit on the side of Old Man Strength, so maybe making the way over towards point a little bit for Dismissed here. They're kind of giving up that little bit of high ground, though, when they do run over to that point. But all those shields going down right now is not good for them. Hazard actually in the back line, but Dimes was able to pick up Cry, so really don't have to worry about too much there. Both Meis trying to freeze each other, and Afro now down. Had to use that cryo to try to stop the freeze, but died anyways. JD now taken out by Mac. Everyone's starting to go down the pole, getting both the Orisa and the Lucio, and that's going to be the first fight taken over by Old Man Strength.
And Old Man Strength do a really good job in that fight of kind of retaking the space that they lost. Afro bought them the high ground with an early wall, but Old Man Strength just get aggressive as soon as it's down. They regain control, and now they've got the choke.
Yeah, and that was a very good Mei wall to kind of block that Mei wall to stop them from getting cut off there. Both Coalescence from each side coming out now, so kind of evening each other out, not really giving team one advantage over the other, more or less. Making their way slowly into the point. Dismissed now able to touch a big pull, getting about 3 or 4 on both sides, actually. Both kind of mirroring each other right now in usage. Cry almost going into the back line there. Afro taken out by Dimes. You have to be really careful about that. The Mei wall's up, kind of splitting the team a little bit. They have to back up, probably a hair, but that's not going to stop them from keeping their aggression right now. They're stuck on the point. 2 frozen now. Both tanks were frozen on the side of Dismissed. Fade is going to get taken down, but not. But after, Mac will also be taken down. Cry and JD are also down now. So that's just another fight going on the side of Old Man Strength with quite a few ults to work with in the next one.
Yeah, they didn't have to use anything, and frankly, the side Dismissed, they didn't really do anything to warrant forcing the ultimates out of Old Man Strength. They didn't use any of their own, so we're gonna be pretty loaded when we come into this next fight, but a slight edge in favor of Old Man Strength there. They're a little bit faster.
Yeah, and they were able to use the full flux right there. A few coming down, but the blizzard comes out right on top of the flux. The beat, though, also came out, but that's not going to really help them when they're frozen. Just able to take so much damage, free headshots pretty much, and you can tell already that this fight's over.
That is ideal for Old Man Strength. They confidently use those two ultimates. They force out the sound barrier as well. That's the big defensive tool gone for the side of Dismissed, who now have to win this next fight or Lijiang Tower is over.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, missing on that Lucy ultimate is pretty big, especially when the enemy team still has theirs, you know? They can just use that whenever they want, really, in a sense, but, you know, with all these ultimates coming out right now, I'm sure they wish they had that the Bongo and the Coalescence. And Carfixer gets taken out before he can even get a chance to use it, though. Faded's Bongo's down. Cry is now down as well to Mac. A lot of damage coming through right now. Mac also gets another one onto Faded. Yeetle takes out Afro. Potion also down. Of course, JD hurrying up, using that flux, trying to get as much value out of it as he can because he knows that this is the last fight. He's got to use whatever he can. Noctis now last one on the point. The sound barrier comes out from Carfixer just at the end there. And, I mean, really didn't need to use it, but of course it's the last fight and there's only one person on point. Might as well.
Just for good measure there at the end, as there was an opportunity, there was a second there where Dismiss looked like they had a chance to come back in that fight. But JD's gravitic flux, it comes in just a little bit too late. If they had pressed forward after getting Carfixer out of the fight, after knowing the sound barrier is gone, the flux maybe finds some value, but by the time he uses it, most of his teammates are dead. It can't find any kills off the back of it. And Old Man Strength able to clean up that fight and take Lijiang Tower pretty convincingly in the end. At least there on Control Center, they were pretty dominant.
Yeah, and I mean, how are they going to think about that going into the next matches? Like, how do you gauge what Control Center might have to do with other map variants? So we can't go to another King of the Hill, but for their next map, whatever they pick, they got to think to themselves, okay, maybe we try to run something that doesn't require a Mei, or something that maybe you don't have to quite necessarily play double shields on, to maybe try to bait in their opponents to maybe run that Hammond or a dive variant, and then them running a counter dive or a more bunker anti-dive comp like a Roadhog or Risa, something like that. So maybe there's a little bit of mind games that goes into it, hoping that your team or your enemy team picks a composition.
Absolutely. And now if you're Dismissed and you do indeed want to kind of take us away from the direction of that Mei that was so solid there for Old Man Strength, really impressive stuff coming out there from Dimes on that first map, both in the Mei and the Pharah there on Night Market really put on a show to kick things off, and is going to force somewhat of an answer now out from Dismissed, who do have the map pick, so they can play around with that to try and send this series in one direction or the other.
Yeah, and we can't forget that there's also map bans, and right now Old Man Strength are actually electing to ban Gibraltar, which is, I mean, it's a map where you can probably run like that Bastion, which is probably something they don't want to run into, hence why they kind of decided to yeet that out of there. But now Dismissed, knowing that they can't pick that, are gonna decide to pick King's Row, a very I think it's a very good map if you want to run that double shield, or maybe even if you want to run like a Ryan Zari on the offense.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the one opportunity you really have if you really want to run the Ryan Zari, and I've seen some teams try to do it with mixed results. I would say. I mean, the most recent patch has perhaps brought that back into viability a little bit, along with some other tank picks, but right now it still seems like that double shield meta is reigning supreme. The Orisa Sigma is just too strong of a combo right now for teams to really ignore.
Yeah, and right now it looks like there's actually going to be a little bit of a trade going through right here. Veg swapping out for Yeetle. So what Veg might be able to bring to the table might be something more along the lines of a Roadhog, or maybe something that Yeetle doesn't feel super comfortable playing. We've seen him play the Hammond and the Sigma mainly, so maybe Veg is a little more experience on Zarya, Diva, Roadhog, maybe stuff like that. And actually, Gilly is also getting switched in now for Dimes.
Yeah, my thought with Veg is probably more that he is just their kind of permanent Sigma player if they're going into a map that they know is only going to require the Sigma. We might see some other picks there, like you mentioned the Diva or the Zarya from the off tank. But when they know that the Wrecking Ball is not really going to be in play for them, I think Old Man Strength wants to go away from Needle. He's shown a workable Sigma and a pretty solid Sigma, but a fantastic Wrecking Ball. But if you're not playing that pick, then it might be better served to have Veg in there. Going to be interesting to see what they roll out with. It is going to be Old Man Strength on the defense first. So we'll get to see their comp in just a few moments.
Yeah, and I mean, I really like King's Row because I feel like you can either run that double shield or maybe you want to be cheesy about it and kind of run like that Bastion up top, but then you really have to be careful around like certain rotates and stuff like that, and you'll probably have the Baptiste instead of a Lucio, so now you're going to have to make sure that you're going to be able to get where you want to go as fast as possible, so that'll require you knowing like, hey, if we're set up here on this high ground, then if we have to drop over to the point, we go over to this area or we go over to that area, and making sure that you know those things before you get into that situation. That way there's the littlest amount of time as possible between you communicating and you actually getting to that spot.
Yes, you don't want those split seconds of hesitation because, like you said, if you don't have the Lucio, you don't have the speed boost, you can't rotate quickly, you can't reposition yourself as effectively. But not even really going to be a problem here for Old Man Strength, as they're just going to stick with what's working right now. They're going to continue with this May Reaper comp that we saw so effective for them on Control Center. That's the defense, and I can't say I really blame them. This is a very powerful combo here on King's Row. The May, once again, going to feel right at home in these close quarters.
Yeah, and I mean, the values that the May brings could be splitting someone off as soon as they come out of the choke. Maybe they try pushing past the statue and you cut them off. That May wall is just so good at helping you win these fights, because instead of it being like a 6v6 the whole time, maybe you could have that 3 to 5 second window where it's just you versus another 3. So 6v3, you're bound to win those.
They are going to be able to get through the choke for the time being. Are dismissed now, looking to take the setup on the point. The May wall not getting a lot of value just yet, but still a bit hesitant right now. Are dismissed.
Yeah, pretty big pull though, bringing a few together. But right now it looks like Afro's just going in with all of his might. In the back line though, you see Cry is able to take out Madero, that you're losing your main support already. Now Gillian Mac also taken down by Afro and Cry. And it's just a slaughter right now. Cry's able actually to pick up 3 right now. JD able to get his counterpart Veg. And yeah, the very fast cap for the side of Dismissed.
Well, now I see why Dismissed was playing that safe and playing it a little bit slow there. They were just waiting for Cry to get in position, and he delivers big on the flank there. Pretty much single-handedly blows up the back line of Old Man Strength and gets King's Row started off on the right foot for Dismissed as they look to make a comeback.
Yeah, and right now Cry's actually just sitting in this little bookshop right now, waiting for them to kind of go through so he can get in that back line again and try to do more damage like that. Both Coalescences come out though. Hazard's able to pick up JD. Afro now down as well, taken out by Mac. But these Coalescences right now, one seem to maybe getting a little bit more value than the other. Veg now taking out Cry, and they're going all the way back to spawn. Gonna have to probably rethink their strategy going into this next fight.
Yeah, and there's the value that you're looking for out of the May from Guile. The wall there splits JD off from the rest of Dismissed. And it makes for an easy first pick off. They unleash the Coalescence. They know they have the numbers, and they turn that into an easy fight win.
Yeah, that's always one thing you're going to be careful about. Right now, it looks like, though, Dismissed are actually just going to jump in from the high ground, avoiding as much as they can. The wall comes through, so you can't really use that flux. He's just trying to get all the way around over to point. Able to actually pick up quite a few here, but not before Hazard gets taken down. Cry kind of going in here now, looking for more picks. He's going to back off over to the point. Afro goes in, is able to get out Veg. The Blizzard now comes out. Looks like it's going to be freezing a few people over in the corner, but whether they're going to be able to follow up on that or not is a big question. It looks like they're not going to be able to do just that. The pull comes through. Nothing's going to be answering for it, though, right now. And Mac, now taking down Cry, is just really doing a lot of damage here on this Reaper and doing a really good job making sure that they're getting as much value as possible.
Maybe a bit of an overcommitment with that Blizzard there, but an excellent play from Faded, the Orisa player on the side of Dismissed. Goes into the Fortify and then body blocks to save some of his teammates through the Blizzard. Won't let the damage come down onto them, keeps them alive, and keeps the payload moving.
Yeah, Afro right now set up on this high ground above this little tunnel area in the defender's first spawn, so he's probably going to be trying to go into the back line, put in some damage, and then use his ultimate possibly somewhere in there. And the Flux actually comes through during that time. Noctis is able to use his beat to prevent a lot of that damage from going through. Hazard getting taken down first in this fight now. Losing that Reaper's a lot of damage. Speaking of a lot of damage on Reaper, Cry goes through with the Death Blossom, able to pick up Card Fixer. Now everybody's just dying super fast on the side of Old Man Strength.
And they're, Dismissed are able to just push forward aggressively with the sound barrier to kick off the fight, and then the supercharger to finish it out. Cry with the Death Blossom all powered up is pretty much unkillable if he's doing any kind of damage, and now they have 4.5 minutes to finish off this map.
Yeah, they're going to pull up top there to try to pick someone off. Afro getting low, and Afro now getting taken out by Veg. They know their win condition now. They got that Doomfist out of there. They're just going to rush in there, try to get as many kills as they can. Actually, right now, it looks like Fade is going over to that Mega. Going to try to jump off the map there. Noctis going in, maybe going for a boot before he jumps off. But now this fight's over, but still with so much time in the bank, you have to be nervous on the side of Old Man Strength.
You've got such a long way to go on this defense, but you at least have done the job of stopping the payload, halting the momentum a little bit on the side of Dismiss. Now they're going to have to bide their time, build up to a few more ultimates before they really try to go in.
Yeah, but using this Bongo early in the fight. Meanwhile, he's stuck in the back. The Doomfist comes in, though, taking out that Bongo, but a Bongo for JD, that's not the world's best trade in the world, but Gilly now taken out. Cry is just really able to get in the back line, get a pick, and get out as fast as possible, and then seeing the support help him out. And in the back line right now, talking about it, Hazard goes for the Death Blossom, but gets answered with a punch right into the wall after taken down now by Veg. So, I mean, the Coalescence coming out. The fight's still very even. Coalescence from both sides now. You're gonna have to be very careful there going in if you're Dismissed, because you're down quite a few. The Coalescence is still up because they used it a little bit later. The pulls through the rock coming out, not quite able to pick anybody off. They're gonna back up a little bit, but they notice everybody's there. They're coming back in. JD frozen. Not much you can do when he's frozen there. And speaking of frozen, the Blizzard comes out. It's able to get Orisa and the Sigma right now. Both of those getting taken out really fast there. Not really anyone getting taken on the side of Old Man Strength, so it's looking like a pretty good fight one there for them.
Dismiss just gets a little bit baited into sticking around in that fight. They thought they had an opportunity, but Guile just completely shuts it down with that Blizzard, and now an opportunity to come back in with an ult advantage for the first time on point C for Dismissed.
Yeah, Hazard kind of holding up top behind. He's spotted out by Afro and Noctis, though. He's going to have to try to make his way out of there as fast as possible before he gets taken out. The Flux, though, does come through, and out comes the sound barrier to answer it. They're backing up right now. Speaking of Fluxes, the next one now comes out from JD. That's getting quite a few, but like before, the sound barrier is able to help them out a bit. But Veg, being so low after that, is going to get taken out. Cry now also taken out. And both Coalescence now coming out. You really got to be careful about this meteor strike. A good pull could have ended them there, but he's able to pick up Gilly still. The Bongo out. Try to put in as much damage as possible, because now that you're down so many people, you're really going to need to kind of pick it up a little bit. Being really careful. Faded dropping super low, but Mac and Hazard also low. They're backing up a little bit there. And now the Bongo comes out from Faded. Again, a lot more of that damage coming through here. They're stuck over in this corner. Cry just being super aggressive on them and gets punished for it by Veg. Now the pull comes through. Afro able to get in. They're all close quarters, so might as well just go for the punch. Able to take out Veg because of that. Afro, though, gets taken out himself. JD now down, and Mac as well. Fights right now very 50-50. It looks like Old Man Strength are probably going to be able to hold this one. Going to use the Coalescence, though. Not 100% sure if you needed to use it there, but hindsight, of course, is 2020, so maybe it was a little bit more different from their view.
Yeah, Maduro gets a little bit of an itchy trigger finger there and unleashes that Coalescence. They'll want that back, but it charges up quickly, so potentially no problem for the side of Old Man Strength, who have now whittled this time bank down immensely. We're at 1 minute remaining. Dismissed. They've finally gotten the payload knocking on the door here of King's Row, but they've still got a little ways to go.
Yeah, especially right now that Cry's down. They're going to have to back up again, which is going to leave them with even less time. And if they're even able to make it out, Hazard actually just jumps right on in there, uses his Death Blossom, and takes out Noctis. A few people low now. They're able to clean up the kills over on a JD and Faded. And they're just making sure they get pushed back as far as possible to try to keep that fight away from that payload.
And Dismissed are struggling to find clean engages right now. They're losing 1 or 2 members every time they try to start a fight. Cry, in particular, has gone down on his own several times on this map since this payload has reached the final phase. They've got to clean this up because they're running out of chances. Yeah, and the Flux coming through right now, taking out Afro early in the fight. The beat doesn't come through until later.
But of course, Cry going in there with his death block and being super aggressive, but he's been getting punished for it this whole time, just like you said. The Bongo comes out, followed by a Coalescence on the enemy team, and then there's their own from Madero, and using it later now means that they have the advantage in this fight. Nox is just going over there to touch the point and hopefully try to push it a little bit, try to keep the overtime to go through. There goes the Wick. Meteor Strike's coming in. I imagine straight on the point there, getting over by Mac, but of course, another quick sound barrier coming in from Car Fixer there. Madero taking out Afro, and right now it's just struggling to get over onto the point. Faded's just staying on there as long as he can with that Hammond pick, and I think that's going to spell the end for this round.
No, indeed it is. Just some last-second stall coming here for Dismiss. They got it almost all the way here on Kings Row. They had so much time remaining for point C, but Old Man Strength buckled down on the final phase. They pull off the defense. And now they have an opportunity, essentially, if they can finish the map, they can go up 2-0 in this series.
Yeah, and like you said, Cry was now getting caught out when he was getting super aggressive and going in the back line and trying to do stuff. And I feel at some points Afro was as well when he was going in and trying to get that one punch kill real quick and then try to get out. They just were able to figure out how to punish them once they really got past that second point there. It could have been too little too late, though. They did push that payload very far, almost towards the end there. So while it's still a winnable fight for them, it's going to be a long journey.
No, I mean, this is still very much in play for Dismissed if they can come up with the defense, but they are, after a really hot start, they kind of tapered off here on Kings Row. They got some momentum early, but it doesn't last through the entire map. And so far, to me, it just seems like the DPS on the side of Old Man Strength are kind of outperforming Afro and Cry. The May Reaper combo has been stellar so far for Old Man Strength, and we'll see what they're going to roll out with on the attack. I wouldn't be surprised to continue seeing May Reaper, but there's some more options, I would say, here as we head into the offense.
Yeah, and now I'm really curious. I'm going to be watching both these DPS on the side of Dismissed right now because they were playing over aggressive, but they were on offense. So maybe here on the defense, they're going to be a little bit more cautious going into it, especially after that round where they were getting caught out a little bit. But starting off, I imagine they just threw Hazard in there to kind of see what they had and then switch off that. And yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. They are going that May Reaper composition, like you said.
Yeah, and I mean, it's one of those things. It continues to work for them, so why would they change it? Guile has been fantastic on the May so far. That wall not really setting anything up just yet. And Dismiss trying to get aggressive right now. They know they have the better kind of frontline composition if they can get that opening pick.
Yeah, and right now, Madero's actually way closer to his coalescence than Potion is. Cry getting taken out now by Gilly. 5v6, not something you really want to be on the defense here. You're very far away, so the picks are going to have to be coming in fast, but Noctis now taken out by Hazard. Madero also now taken out. He's got that coalescence going through there, getting out of Afro, and that's another quick fight from the offense.
Yeah, Old Man Strength, they've just are firing on all cylinders right now. Another wall secures them an opening pick onto Cry. He thought he was safe. He thought he was able to Wraith Walk back into his team, but the wall cuts off his retreat. And now Old Man Strength, in a very similar fashion to what we saw last round, they get the first point and they're getting the payload underway.
Yeah, and right now you can see Dismissed are actually doing a really good job here. They're pushing up all the way to this first little choke here, making sure that they don't get a bunch of the rooms so that way they can make their way over to the bookstore with the payload. But now they do have to back off. The wall comes through. That's leaving their team a little bit separated. The Coalescence and the Flux comes out, but Afro's already down. Carfixer also now following down. And right now it looks like it's very 50-50. Hazard also taken out, though. So Mac getting down. Yeah, it looks like the fight's slowly snowballing more and more in the favor of Dismissed here.
And that's exactly what they needed. They needed to buy themselves some time. They needed to stop this payload at the choke. And now they might be turning this around. The Coalescence unleashed, but Darrow going crazy, and they're going to flip this one on its head.
Yeah, there's spawns right there. They got to make sure that Dismissed don't play too aggressive. And Old Man Strength, notice how far pushed up they were, and they're like, we got more people now. Our spawn's right here. Let's just go in here and show them what's up. So they're going to use that Coalescence to open it up, and now they've got that point back. Still have a very good time bank to make it all the way over to second.
Indeed, they will. So we'll have one final confrontation here. That that fight lasts so long and gets staggered out so much that if you're Dismissed, you're really gonna have one fight to try and defend here on point B. They've got a lot of ults to do it. They'll open up with a supercharger.
Yeah, the Flux, the Supercharger all out, but Hazard in the backline using that Death Blossom is able to take out Cry. Now he's making his way over towards Potion, but the Blizzard out right now in the main fight, taking both tanks frozen right now, but Potion uses Coalescence to try to keep them up as long as possible. Mac able to take down 2, Gilly out with JD. Potion right now with the Coalescence, able to take out Gilly, but I don't think it's going to be for too much value there. Afro still in the backline. This point, though, looks like it's going to be making it.
Absolutely will be. The Blizzard is impeccable there, and you see why that's one of the most powerful ultimates in the game right now. And so far, the Mei pick has just been perfect for Old Man Strength, and Dismiss don't seem to have a clear answer. They're going to go to the Mei McCree combo here. They want some stuns to try to help to deal with Hazard.
Yeah, and now because they have that other Mei, they can answer with a wall of their own, so the fight a little bit less split than before, but Carfix are able to get the boop off onto Cry. Faded taking out JD now, and winning this first fight here really close to the corner. Very, very impressive. They use the bongo, so they're not really going to have too many ults going to the next fight, but neither are dismissed here. Carfixer will have that sound barrier, so knowing that JD is close to that, I imagine he'll be holding on to that and not using that in an aggressive manner, but rather in defensive.
And this is pretty much going to be a dry fight outside of those 2 pig ultimates. Potion able to potentially get a Coalescence here. That could be the clincher for Dismissed.
Yeah, and right now, here comes the Flux. I imagine he was trying to bait out that Lucio ultimate as long as he could. Now with the thing up, it looks like it's getting 3 people, but of course, there goes the sound barrier. Hazard in the backline was actually able to pick up Noctis soon after. Potion using that Coalescence to try to put in some more damage and heals for his team. The Flux now also comes out for Veg, and it doesn't look like it's going to get anybody directly with that. Carfix and Hazard also taking out, but the Blizzard's going through, and it's pretty big. It's getting quite a few, but answered with another Blizzard. A lot of people also frozen on the point here. Noctis and Potion are going to have to be the ones to pick up the kills, and right now it doesn't look like they're going to be able to do that. 2 supports in a world full of tanks and DPS, it seems right now. Jumping over into the point, JD on the Winston, just trying to stall it out for as long as possible, but they're not going to be able to do that.
No, it's just not happening there. 4 Dismissed at the tail end. The tale of 2 Blizzards for that final fight goes in the direction of Old Man Strength as Guile gets his out just a hair before Afro is able to use his, and you know the damage had already been done at that point. It all falls apart for Dismissed, and now they find themselves down 0-2 in this series on the verge of elimination.
Yeah, now they're going to have to be really careful. They can't go back to another hybrid map, but they can go back to another King of the Hill, where the first map, like you said, they looked really good. It was a 99-99, but on that second map, Control Center, not quite. It was 100-0. So what they're going to really decide to do here is probably go a 2CP type and try to hold off on a defense, maybe something a little bit cheesier with that Bastion or something of that lines.
That's definitely a possibility here. Dismissed looking a little lost at the moment, I would say, especially when it comes to dealing with this Mei. It's been unreal how much value they're getting out of the walls, out of the AoE kind of freezes that you can get by hitting multiple members with your primary fire. And Old Man Strength are just on a roll right now. They're looking so incredibly ready for this match and so well prepared with the goal of moving on up into the lower bracket, you know, keeping their tournament hopes alive there. They're doing everything possible right now.
Yeah, and the first ban coming out is Hanamura, but something we haven't brought up quite yet is voting for your MVP down below. We've seen a lot of players kind of show off that they might deserve that MVP status. Cry on that Reaper, who I think was doing a really good job there in the first round of King's Row. Maybe you want to give it to Yeatle, who did an amazing job on the Hammond on Lijiang Tower, or just somebody on either team. You know, I mean, it doesn't really have to be someone from the winning team. As long as you can see that they're putting in work and getting high value out of their picks, I mean, that's a real MVP.
No, I mean, and oftentimes the MVP does go over to someone on the losing team, because you know that's the way it goes. I mean, this is for the viewers to pick, to give some props to someone who stood out in this series, and that doesn't necessarily have to be getting the win. So be sure to scroll down right below the Twitch stream. You'll be able to find that poll, and we'll have the results of that at the end of the series.
Yeah, and now while we wait for Dismiss to pick this next map, the first ban was onto Hanamura, so they are a little bit afraid of that 2CP possibly on the side of Old Man Strength. Dismiss kind of taking their time, really thinking about it. This could potentially be their last map. They want to make sure it's a good one that they know that they definitely will probably have the advantage on. But with how much time it's taking, they really seem to be kind of in the dark.
No, and I don't know that there is a simple answer here in terms of just the map picks. In my mind, I would say going to some sort of escort would be my kind of preference for them. Get away from those hard choke points where the Mei really dominates, and those are going to be more common on your hybrid and your 2 CP maps. So that's what I would like to see, but again, there's no easy answers here for Dismissed, and I gotta say, it feels a little bit like they are kind of behind the meta just a hair here, still playing that Doomfist Reaper DPS duo so heavily that was kind of the dominant DPS line of the previous patch. Doomfist got some serious nerfs here, and Afro is having a hard time finding a lot of value. And if Cry is getting caught out on his flanks, then there's really no kind of kill potential coming through for Doomfist.
Yeah, and it's really hard to run the Doomfist sometimes. I guess it might be a little bit more map dependent depending on how open something is and team composition wise. But like you said, the Doomfist is kind of feeling like he is a bit more sluggish. Afro was getting caught out a little bit on that Doomfist whenever he was going in for the punches. I assume because of that 0.4 second increase with his rocket punch. So you can kind of hear it charging up a little bit sooner, and that kind of leads you to get ready like, okay, this is coming in. We got to get ready for it. What are we going to do? And I imagine they already have something in mind. It's like, oh, okay, he's going to punch. Well, we'll just pull him as soon as he does his uppercut so he can't really go anywhere. His seismic slam will land right in front of us, and we'll just kill him like that. Or maybe they decide to throw up a wall really quick, or maybe if this thing was fast enough, just throw a rock at him. So Doomfist now has a lot more counterplay when it comes to that rocket punch.
Yeah, and the shield nerf I think is pretty significant, because where before you would see a Doomfist fly in, use his cooldowns and get out whether he got a kill or not. Now that becomes just incrementally harder. He doesn't get as many shields from landing those cooldowns, and it makes those kind of in-between plays where in the past he might have escaped with 20, 30, 40 health. He's now not getting out alive, and it's really hurt him in the current meta. We'll see how that continues to play out through the rest of this series. Might only be a single map here, as Dismissed are down to their last attempt. It's going to be Busan where they make their stand.
Yeah, now they're pulling in those players that they did have for the first King of the Hill map. And now Yeetle and Dimes are back in, so you're going to be expecting that Hammond. And Dimes is maybe you're not going to be expecting that Mei too much. I mean, on Busan, I can't really see where a Mei would be super helpful. Maybe on the map with the big old drum in the middle that no one really remembers the name of, so I just call it drum. But maybe they could be helpful there somewhat, because on the point it is very small. So, and you got the pillars around the corner, so maybe you want to try to use a wall there. But Busan doesn't really lead itself for a Mei composition.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it on mecha base as well. If you're fighting on that high ground, the Mei can be pretty effective. But the fact that Dimes is coming back into the game tells me that they have plans for a Pharah potentially. And, if we're headed to downtown, then that is absolutely an option. It works quite well on Sanctuary as well. So I think this is another map that is kind of going to play into the hands of Old Man Strength, at least in terms of kind of the compositional choices.
Yeah, and I think that's something they're going to have to be careful about. And I think Dismissed kind of know what they're going to be running into now after getting through that first King of the Hill map. So they're going to be, they're probably not going to be too surprised by their compositions and going to be a little bit more ready for them. Of course, you can say that all you want, but I mean, they could pull out something super random that no one's ever seen before that could just absolutely demolish them. That's how new metas are made. You just try something completely new, and if it just seems to work out super well, then, well, guess what? You found yourself the new meta for the next year.
Yeah, well, maybe Dismissed will be trying some new things here, but if I'm Old Man Strength, I do not change a thing. I come in here, I run Yeetle on the Wrecking Ball that he is such an expert at. I break out Dimes on the Pharah, and I say to Dismissed, hey, you have got to make us change. You've got to force us off of this composition. Otherwise, we're just going to roll over. Yeah,
and quite literally roll over them, possibly. But I think that they're gonna have to be careful themselves. I mean, they're gonna have to be careful on both sides, like you said. But I don't know. On this map here, Sanctuary, I think you said it was. I never remember it. Like I said, uh, I'm guessing that Dismiss are gonna be running the regular 2-2. It looks like they will be possibly running Afro on that Sombra, probably for an answer to Yeatle on the Hammond. So if they're just hacking Yeatle the whole time, he's going to be getting absolutely zero value pretty much. Not able to go in, smack people around, pile drive, put his shields up, or anything like that. So that could be a really good pick.
The hacks can be pretty huge here, especially with Hazard rolling out on the Doomfist as well. That is two incredibly lethal hack targets. If you get the Wrecking Ball or the Doomfist with the hack, they are as good as dead.
Definitely. And I mean, another thing you got to be worried about now, though, is going to be that Pharah, because whose job is it really to take out that Pharah? You got Cry over on the Tracer, and I mean, they did have that little bit of buff, so maybe, but right now it looks like his target was the Doomfist getting over onto Hazard, and now Yeatle also taken out, making it really difficult. Old Man Strength already the first fight. 2 picks really fast, taking down their people, so they're going to have to back up a little bit here.
Yeah, he's able to just win the 1v1 straight up against Hazard, and then Yeatle gets hit by that accretion from JD and focus down immediately. So a good start here for Dismissed as they try to bring this series back. It's got to start on Busan, and they've done well so far.
Yeah, and it looks like the Farmers is just trying to come in from the right side, and meanwhile everyone else over onto the left here. Yeatle tries to go in, but not quite able to do that. Really fast push up here. Cry able to take out Hazard again first in this fight. Orisa, though, taken down for the side of Dismissed. You're losing that big shield, but losing both of your supports right now for Old Man Strength is probably going to lead you to lose this fight.
Yeah, and Cry just kind of going crazy on the Tracer right now. Got some minor buffs in the most recent patch. Now a little bit more effective from long range. And he and Afro, they just appear at once. They focus down the same target. In this case, it was Hazard, and they swing that fight in their favor.
Yeah, so now, ultimate-wise, Potion, when he uses his Coalescence, I imagine they're going to try to target the Mercy, possibly, make sure that they're able to get taken down out of the sky. I think that's probably the best answer for them. Right now, it's kind of more like they've just really not been paying too much attention to him until maybe they have the pull, and they're able to pull the Mercy or the Pharah and try to combo something with that. But right now, they are putting in a lot of damage. Yeatle actually coming in from behind on that ball, pushing that Orisa forward, so of course he's going to get taken down. Hazard actually was also able to pick up Cry while that was all going on. And now they're using that Coalescence. The Barrage also now coming out. Not quite able to pick anybody up, but clears the point. Yeatle going in. Hazard now picking up Afro as well. Hazard now with a 3K so far in this fight, I believe. Dime's taking out JD. Noctis down. Potion also down to Hazard. Hazard's really finishing up the kills, though, in that fight.
He finally got back over to the Reaper for this fight and really made it work. They take the frontline engagement. As soon as Cry is out of the fight, they know the pesky Tracer in their backline who's been giving them trouble all game, no longer an issue. They can just surge forward. They bowl over the tank line of Old Man Strength. But now the percentage already at 84%. Old Man Strength can win it right here.
Yeah, and the EMP does come through. Max taken out, but Yeatle goes in and decides to use his mines there to kind of keep them off the point. Hazard taking out Faded, though. Both the Orisas now down for both sides, and JD now, no tanks on the side of Dismissed. Hazard finally going down, but there's already so many people down right now on the side of Dismissed that they know they have the fight won.
No, and that was just a bit of an overzealous EMP engage there by Dismissed. Afro only hitting that ultimate on the Mac. Yes, they delete the Orisa immediately, but that is not nearly enough value out of an ultimate that can be fight winning on its own at times.
Yeah, and they're deciding to stay over here onto this Tracer, which I'm thinking maybe they might want to go something different. Maybe if they wanted to kind of go that Reaper or something like that. But I mean, I guess the Tracer's kind of the one right now used for the Far Mercy, and the Death Blossom comes through. He's able to pick up Noctis, takes out that Bongo as well. Faded was able to get Hazard, though. Dimes using that Barrage, only really able to pick up Faded, but that's still a pretty big pick, especially since they're already down there. Lucio, JD now following suit, and everyone's getting taken out right now. Cry throws out that Pulse Bomb last second, doesn't really see any value out of it, so I imagine they're going to be switching over to something here. JD going over to the Diva, so maybe a little bit more divey.
Yeah, perhaps just a hope to get back into this fight before it really kicks off, but they've already lost Afro. This is a disaster. You can feel the panic setting in for the side of Dismissed at this point. They've got one more attempt, and they've got to make it worthwhile.
Yeah, and I mean, just barely at the end there, the beat goes through to get Faded onto the point without taking as much damage as possible, using that bubble to try to stop those tanks from putting in damage on him. And I mean, the stall's going through right now. Not really many picks coming out from either side after Afro's been taken out, but Yeatle able to use those mines to take out Cry. Cry getting caught out by those potion. Now also down, you're losing out on your main support. You're not going to have much sustain now, especially when you're losing your main tank. JD now taken out of the mech. Noctis was able to get Car Fixer, but that's probably not going to be enough for them to be able to turn this fight. And it looks like this round is going to be going all the way over its old man strength.
Once again, they're able to kind of turn this one around after such a strong start from Dismiss. They kind of just let it slip through their fingers there. It doesn't take a lot of mistakes to lose a control map or to lose one of these fights, and that's exactly what happens. They had one good engagement to come in with the EMP, and they don't get what they were looking for at that point. They're in a bit of a panic. They start to blow ultimates unnecessarily, and it all just kind of falls to pieces.
Yeah, and now going on this next one, it looks like we're going to be at City Center here. So also a pretty good map for the Hammond. If this was Mecha base, maybe we would have seen him switch over to the Sigma. It looks like on the side of Dismiss, they're running 2 main tanks right now. They're going to be running JD and or JD is going to be on the Winston and Faded over on the Orisa here. So maybe something we could be looking out for there.
And that is a little bit of an unusual combo, but then again, so is the Orisa Wrecking Ball that you've got on the other side. No one really willing to kind of take the fight at the moment. Hazard going back to spawn to swap, in fact, but his teammates going in without him right now.
Yeah, I mean, they just had to put a little bit of pressure on that. Point now is open. Hazard actually is the first one taken out. And the point's going to be first going over to Dismissed here. Not really too much happening. It looks like just rockets kind of raining in from above. And JD's actually going in pretty deep right here. Yeatle trying to get him a little bit more out of position, try to save Mac and Madero. But Madero's actually going to go down from Cry's arrow straight to the noggin and sending themselves back there. They're going to have to rethink this next engagement.
Yes, they do get a late pick there onto JD, who was trying to chase down Car Fixer on the Mercy, and that's an opportunity for free entry into the area around the point, and a brief advantage for the side of Old Man Strength.
Yeah, right now Potion using that Coalescence, though, answered by the enemy's Coalescence as well, but the Barrage is also coming through, gets faded, but Dimes gets taken out short after that by Afro. Coalescence still out for a little bit longer for Madero, but Dimes and Madero now taken out. The Res is going to come up over onto him, though, and Hazard's right now on the point, using that Reaper, Flux, going around, or using that Reaper Wraith, going around. Yeatle actually gets the boop off on Noctis over into the train tracks there. You got to be careful. Trains are dangerous business. You can't be messing around near those. Mac also now taking out JD, Afro down. So it looks like right now Old Man Strength are actually going to be able to bring this fight back. Theta just stalling on for as long as they can. Cry now actually gets taken out by Car Fixer.
Yeah, breaking out the pistol to finish off the Valkyrie there. As a lot of ultimates committed by Old Man Strength, but they get what they came for. They get the flip. And now an interesting swap from Afro going over to the Sombra yet again here. Done with the Doomfist. Doesn't want to try to re-engage into Hazard on the Reaper. And now things get a little bit awkward for Dismissed.
Yeah, the Bongo now a little bit around that wall, so that helps him a little bit, but Potion's going to be able to take that down with the help from his teammates, I'm sure. Dimes takes out Faded, and now the Death Blossom is taking out Afro. Being down 2 already early in this fight, Hazard's now taking out JD. Hazard's now going on another 3K. Hazard's just really kind of going in there, especially in this last map, getting as many kills as they think they can. Just going in super fast, super deep.
And that is a disaster right there for Dismiss. They committed so much to that fault. The Coalescence, the sound barrier, they used the Primal Rage as well from JD. So now they're running out of options here. They're running out of resources, and they're pushing in to an entrenched defensive setup from Old Man Strength.
Yeah, if they don't win this next fight, so many ultimates are going to be up for Old Man Strength in the next one that there's not going to be much they can do. But the hack over, trying to get onto Yeatle, but I don't think it quite makes it there in time. Actually blocked by, I think, a shield, possibly. Hazard able to take out Potion. Fade and loses his life and his Bongo. A lot more kills coming in, and Old Man Strength taking yet another fight. And
now, look, Dismiss are about to come in here for their last fight of the tournament, potentially, and they're going to have nothing. Their cupboard is bare at this point. They're going to be pushing into a barrage, the mines from Yeatle, and more ultimates on the way for Old Man Strength. This is looking dire. It's going to take a miracle for Dismiss to win.
Yeah, but who knows what could happen. But right now, it looks like the Mines are going to come out to try to stop them from getting over to the point. But Faded and Potion may get over, but the Barrage is going to answer to him. JD taken out, but Afro noticed Dimes is just sitting still, going to go ahead and take him out as fast as possible. Noctis, though, out. Now it's just Afro doing as much as he can, and the Moira is just sucking him down. Probably in there on the Tracer, just blinking back and forth, trying to keep the point up for as long as possible. But it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. No one's going to be able to make it to the point, and that's going to be Old Man Strength taking the map and taking the game.
Wow, no miracles today for Dismissed as Old Man Strength confidently and cleanly take the 3-0 victory here. They send Dismissed home, and that's one of the tournament favorites gone out of the event where we're getting down to the very late stages here. And still, I am surprised to see Dismissed leaving, and even more shocked to see them barely put up a fight.
Yeah, I mean, today Old Man Strength really showed up. I mean, at first you kind of saw Yeetle on the first map really booping people around, making it really difficult for them to set up anywhere. And then on the second map, you saw that their Mei was doing a really good job. I think it was Gilly over on the Mei, doing really good with the walls and making sure that they were able to get space, take space away, all with just a simple E ability. And then here on this last map, I think we really saw Hazard show up. Maybe in the first round, it looked like they were kind of getting down a little bit by a little bit. Losing their first 2 or 3 engagements, but as soon as they switched over to that Reaper, they were just absolutely wreaking havoc.
And this was the first chance that I have gotten to see Old Man Strength play, and I've got to say they came out and they really impressed me tonight. This is a team that looks to have both kind of their fundamentals down, and that they are working in the meta so strongly. They've got those meta comps down with the Mei Reaper, the double shield comps, but they also have some looks that throw teams for a loop. And I'm talking kind of specifically about the Wrecking Ball that came in on those 2 control maps. And I think made a huge difference for them. Yeetle putting up big performances on that, his specialty hero, and Old Man Strength working so well around him in the space that he was creating.
Yeah, and I mean, while you're talking about how good Yeetle did, I also did mention how well Hazard did, and I do believe Hazard's actually the player that is going to be joining us for this post-match interview.
Hello, I am.
Hey, Hazard, what's up? How you feeling after that win?
I'm all right. It's kind of fun. It was more of like a scrim than a match more.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
What is that a little bit of a surprise to you? Because I mean, at least for me, I had a bit of higher expectations for Dismiss than what we saw tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I came into this match, I was expecting like another, maybe a 3-2, but it was just a complete wipeout, and I was like, something's going on in their end. I don't know, maybe it just meant, I don't know, it's something deeper in the team, probably mentality or something, but we won't ever know.
Yeah, and I mean, go ahead if you want to answer.
Nah, you got it.
All right, fine. So I mean, speaking about how things are intricate in maybe the enemy team, how are things kind of going in your team? I mean, were you guys able to kind of keep that good mentality throughout certain maps? Because I know in that first round of like Lijiang, it was getting really close there, and you ended up taking it 199. Maybe was there anything specific about the team that kind of keeps you guys going on a good mental track to make sure you don't kind of throw on your own end?
So mentality is one of like the biggest issues a lot of teams have, and as long as you know that the game is always winnable, and there's always that opportunity if you're able to flip the map and say you can win, like there's no reason for anybody to boom. Booming mentalities is one of like players' biggest mishaps, because it just kills teams, because then they get angry with each other, and then they argue, and it's just overall very stupid. So our team we used to boom, I would say that, but work on your mentality and your team could do very good, because it's more of like a game changer.
Yeah, definitely. All right, go ahead, Shai. What were you gonna say?
No, I mean, I was gonna ask something quite along the same line, so I'll kind of pivot to this. We are getting down to the tail end of the tournament here. Only a handful of teams remaining. Is there anyone that is still left in the event that you would like see your team go up against, perhaps a rematch with the dedicated who sent you down into the lower bracket in the first place?
Oh, without a doubt, yeah. I want to play dedicated gaming so bad, because I want to prove that they are one of the best teams in tier 3 right now. So playing against them would be like the biggest difficulty that we have. So it's, if we prove ourselves against them, and then I feel like we're going to be a very strong team within tier 3.
Yeah, and now going forward, like you said, you really want to face them. How are you going to try to keep up this streak of making sure that you're not going to be able to get knocked out of this lower bracket?
So one of our biggest things that we really do is that our coaches, they help us so much, especially our coach Ito Pata. He's one of our biggest helps, but he lives in EU, so like he has a really messed up schedule. Like he has to stay up super late. So like the reason that he's with us for so long and is able to stay with us for so long is because we're able to support him with funds, and we get our funds through chainsaws. So we sell like all of our chainsaws online, like a chainsaw direct, and one of our biggest sellers is a Milwaukee 2727 21 HDP M18 Fuel 16N, and we have this in stock all year round. And you want to make sure that you get these chainsaws in stock because the winter's coming. No one's going out anymore, so right now they're on sale. We have many people in the industry with tons and tons of experience, and they'll be ready to assist you to purchase a new chainsaw. We have Milwaukee, Redbuck, and Oregon in stock. So that is one of our biggest ways of how we are able to survive as a team.
Oh yeah, very good transition there. Way to keep it up. Make sure that your EU coach doesn't kind of leave you out high and dry. It's probably a good way to do it.
Yeah, without a doubt. We got to make sure he's living timber free.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I think that probably brings us to the end of the interview. I do want to thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time, some insights on the series, and of course, telling everyone where they can find all of their chainsaw needs and get those met. Before we let you go, I do want to give you a chance to kind of shout out your teammates, plug streams, plug anything that you want other than chainsaws, I guess.
Oh yeah, just follow us on Twitter. Twitter.com/oldstrengthow. That's where we make most of our announcements and roster changes and whatnot. And plus, you'll see a very, very, very attractive old men every day. So yep, that's about it.
Nice. All right. Well, hey, you know what? Thanks for coming in for this post-match interview. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thanks for hosting this tournament again.
Yeah, no problem. Love seeing it. Love seeing you guys come here.
All right. Well, have a good day.
All right. You too.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end of the first match here tonight, but we're not yet done. We'll be back in just under an hour for the second matchup of the night, Team 2 versus Inked. We'll be finding out who is going to take on Old Man Strength in the next round of the lower bracket. So, it's been a good start here, but we've still got a ways to go. We've still got some more fantastic Tier 3 Overwatch coming your way in just a little while.
Yeah, so make sure you don't go anywhere. But for now, though, I've been your play-by-play caster, Poor Zach. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, YouTube, all Poor Zach. The Twitter's a little messed up because I had to use zeros instead of O's in a 4 and 7A because someone already took it. So I guess I'm not original in that sense. But, if you want to find me, you can go there. I play usually about 4K. Right now I'm a little down, to be honest with you, which happens, but I can bring it back. And I'm sure that you're going to be able to find my co-caster in other places as well.
Yeah, you can pretty much find anything that I am doing on Twitter at ShyGuyOW, all one word, all lowercase. Pretty easy. You can follow. I do a lot of writing about Overwatch League, as well as any and all casting gigs that I've got going on. Before we go, I do just want to take a second to announce the viewers MVP. That's going to be going to Matt here tonight. Well deserved after an excellent performance on the Orisa for Old Man Strength. They come away with the win. He comes away with the props from the viewers. All good vibes for Old Man Strength in that.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you're playing that Orisa, it could be a role that some might, maybe not be that good on, or maybe they just kind of don't have the skill set to kind of do that. But you have to be a really good communicator, especially with Holt combos, whether it may be a Flux or a punch, a meteor strike, something along those lines. You got to make sure that you're able to communicate that with your team. So really good job today.
Absolutely. Well, we'll be back in just under an hour at 10 p.m. for the second match of the night. But thank you all for joining us so far. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you guys on